You can find me on Twitter with my full name. Sorry for that, it's a long name. And I am working for Trifork. I am Trifork Germany. I also have an assistant who's working part-time, and we are a distributed company. So we have offices all over Europe and one office in the US. Depending on where my colleague in the US is, there is the office in there's our US office. So when I was talking to Isabel about all the topics that come with distributed teams, we had so many things on our minds because probably most of you work, well, who's working in distributed teams? There you go. Oh.
Also, don't work if you do work in anything open source, if you work in a distributed company, in a open source project, if you work in a large corporation, you can probably as well raise your hand.
Okay, good. Again, raise your hand for all of this. Okay, cool. So you know the pains that come with distributed teams, like getting your colleagues on a call or just a chat, or maybe answering an email. Answer this email, it's not that difficult, right? And with that, I found my biggest pain a few weeks ago when I had something that really needed to be done and it wasn't done. So I'm talking about deadlines, and not only distributed teams, but also international teams. Distributed can also mean that you are sitting in different offices in Berlin, which is not that big of a problem because you could also go for a beer after work, right? But international does also mean that there might be different countries involved. Don't you want to let them see the slides too? No? Okay, good. Okay, I can work with that. I can do both, yes. You can move. All right, so today we are talking about humans, culture, and impediments to collaboration. So if we work together, there are definitely impediments that need to be removed. We are starting with humans. Humans are unique. Just have a look around you. You see a lot of unique humans. You see blonde ones, you see people with dark hair, glasses, no glasses, tall, not so tall, male, female, or whatever gender you would like to be, right? So we have to embrace the fact that we all are different and we all have a different background, which differs even more if you put some latitudes and longitudes between yourself and the other one. And even each and every socioeconomic background of humans make us vary within one geographical position. Just have a look into this room. We are all that is something
very important.
Yeah.
We speak about Japanese people, they also speak worse English ever.
Okay, so these are the basic levels. So we have country, time zones, language, and then we go to a deeper level even, which is the culture. Okay, I would start with that because I just fucked this up. So I would start with time. No, I was up there. So we have the culture. Does the opposite person that you're talking to come from an individualist culture or a collectivist culture? So is the person used to work all alone and do everything on their own, or is this person used to working in the team and get everything for the team? Good example, have you ever written a CV of an Indian person? If not, let me tell you, it's 12 pages of what the team has achieved. There is no word in there what they have achieved, just as an example. Then we have communication in cultures differs between direct and indirect communication. So you're all living in Germany and you are all living in Berlin, so you all know that Germans and especially Berliners can be very, very blunt, right? Like, you look terrible today. Oh, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So something like this. So is it a direct communication or more of an indirect communication? Are you feeling good? I think you're a bit pale. Something like this, right? And then we have problem solving. Problem solving. Is it more of a confrontation or more of a harmony person? So if there is a problem, would this person rather speak out the problem or rather like have a lot of words around it just to know that there might be something wrong, but you don't really know what is wrong, so you have to ask a lot of questions. We are coming to questions just in a second. And then feelings. Does this person show their feelings openly? Like, for example, I know a lot of Spanish people who like to show their feelings openly with a very loud voice, or does this person doesn't want to show feelings at all? Like I know from a lot of Asian people, which Asian is just a box. I'm not picking one of them out right now. And then last but not least, time, which we are coming to at this talk. Deadlines. Are deadlines just an orientation, or are deadlines binding? So if you are more of a deadlines binding person, it's probably good to set a date and time, not say by the end on Friday, because on Friday is from midnight to midnight, right? And if you're working in a distributed team, the best way I can work with my teammates who come from a different cultural background and who sit in not my office is I'm a Quaker. I'm a very positive animal. I'm very interested. So if you Google for Quaker, for pictures of Quakers, they will always look like that. Always. They are always looking like, oh, that's very interesting. Tell me more about it. And very positive, right? So be a Quaker, avoid assumptions, ask questions. So if you feel offended by something, ask questions. If you think you made yourself clear, ask your opposite. If you make yourself clear and ask him to, them, not him, because it might be a female, ask them to repeat what you want from them in their own words. Probably the best. If you do not work for a long time with them yet, so you do not know them, then this is the best way to get to know them, how they work. Sorry, it's so hot. So assume nothing but good intentions. And if you ask questions, ask open questions. Anyone does not know what open questions? No. Do you all know what open questions are? No. Okay. Open questions are those questions that you cannot answer with yes or no. Where, what, when, why. So are you hungry is not an open question. It's yes or no. Maybe there's a maybe in between because you want to have chocolate, but that's not really hungry. What, where, when, why, those are open questions because they cannot answer them with yes or no. So ask open questions because then they have to answer like in real sentences, in complete sentences, usually. Sometimes they don't. Then ask more questions. And always be aware that your colleagues might not see the world as you see it, because culture, right? Collaborative, individual, and so on and so forth. And as I said, if you are setting goals, set them with a date and a time. Because for you, it might not be true, but for some people, time is actually relative. If, let's say, you have a date with a preferred person, and this preferred person tells you, I will be there in 5 minutes. Is this real 5 minutes, or is this a figurative 5 minutes? Is this a, I only need to shower and then make my hair, put some makeup on, find something to dress, and get into the bus to get to you 5 minutes? Or is this a, I'm just searching for my keys 5 minutes? So just ask the question, by 5 minutes, you mean 5 after 2 or something like this. And again, the same goes for, I need this and this and this for this project by the end of the week. What is the end of the week? Is it Friday? Is it Saturday? Is it Sunday? So specifically say, I need this on Friday at 2 p.m. because I need to forward it at 4 p.m. and I would like to have a straight look at it for at least an hour. So you have a little buffer in there. Yes?
We are
coming to the impediments very, very soon. So this is one of the impediments that I personally, and probably all of you, like very, very much. And it makes my brain hurt. So again, confirm what you understood. Also, if someone asks you, can you give it to me by the end of the week? Ask them, what do you mean by end of the week, time, date, and so on and so forth, right? Oh, I changed my slides, so time zones is not the first slide anymore, but we will come to it. So, but we are going to impediments now. We are all very, very lucky because we are here in Berlin. We have probably stable computers, we have stable electricity, we have a stable internet. Sometimes we don't have stable internet, and sometimes we're working in a company that has very, very old computers. But in general, we are very, very lucky. We have electricity we can depend on, but some of our colleagues may not have that. Some of our colleagues may work in the outback of Australia, in the rainforest, somewhere in the Middle East, somewhere, I don't know, where this is not normal. So this is something that you might get in the back of your head, because I don't know how your teams look like, but this is something that a lot of people, including me, never had on their screen, because for me, it's totally normal. I switch on my computer, there goes electricity, I have internet, everything's fine, right? So these are impediments that you probably cannot change, but you can work around this. So if someone has only 3 hours of electricity and internet a day, you put all the meetings into these 3 hours that you want to talk to them. Then another impediment, which I learned very, very painful, are holidays. Even within Germany, the public holidays vary, which means that Bavaria has 7 to 9 free days more than here in Berlin. My Google Calendar looks very, 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 very colorful because I have the bank holidays and the public holidays in there from Denmark, Switzerland, Poland, Netherlands, UK, Sweden, US, and Germany. Ah, there we go, Germany. So I have at least 8 calendars in there that tell me who of my colleagues might not be in the office. So I am not wondering, why is him not online? Why? I don't know. I wanted to have this. It's very urgent. And then I check my calendar. Oh, okay, it's this Catholic holiday I've never heard of. Okay, brilliant. And again, for Switzerland, I also have 2 calendars because it also varies in Switzerland. Yay. So, impediments, work around them. You cannot change them, but you can work around them. And now, to the one and only, and our beloved, time zones. When you're working in Europe, it's all of our offices are in Europe. So I'm good. I'm really good. I just have to take care of my colleagues in London because they are 1 hour behind. That's totally fine. But if I have to work with my colleague in the US, sometimes it's a pain. Have you ever tried to make a conf call with the West Coast and Central Europe, where you are not tired as hell and they are not tired as hell? It's a pain. Well, I think you are very much on caffeine or there. So I was organizing a conference in San Francisco last year. Yeah, and it totally trashed my sleeping cycle. So, but there are things, you probably can't see this, but there are things that that you can use, and which I would very much advise to use is, come on, mouse, work with me. There we go. This one, it's a website where you can put on the cities, and you can see everything that is green and that would work for everyone. For example, today at 4, it's 7 o'clock in San Francisco and it's 3 o'clock in London. So timeanddate.com is my best friend for that. There you go. You can work around this. Everything is solvable. You cannot sleep enough or something. Everything is solvable. And speaking on working around impediments and especially deadlines, if you need something from a certain person or a certain persons, make sure to put in a buffer. So instead of asking them 24 hours prior your need, ask them 2 or 3 days. So ask them on Wednesday if you need something on Friday. Ask them on Monday if you need something on Thursday. Or ask them, never ask them on Friday if you need something on Monday. That's just stupid, because people usually take the weekend off. And if they do not take the weekend off because they have to work for you, then they are probably not relaxed and they're very grumpy on Monday. People tend to be very grumpy on Monday anyway, so you don't want this. So if you want to have something on Monday, ask them on Wednesday, for example. And also, if you're working in distributed teams, you have the problem that you're not sitting in one room. You might sit in one chat room, okay, that's good, but you're not bumping into each other over the coffee machine, so you cannot talk constantly about your projects and what are the deadlines and where do you need them. So make sure to look at them more frequently. So take the chunk of the project, what you probably already do because you all work agile. Take the chunk of your project, make it into little pieces, and look at these little pieces very, very frequently. So have a jour fixe with your colleagues, have a daily stand-up with your colleagues, have a weekly stand-up with your colleagues, and make them show you the actual work, or a spreadsheet of the actual work. So for example, in the conference organizer business, we have to work with speakers or sponsors. So we have a list of speakers and sponsors. And in this list, we can check, for example, for the speakers, who is in the abstract, the bio, the picture, and who is in contact with the speaker and when was the last contact. So we can always have a look at this sheet where it says, okay, last contact 2 weeks ago. So you can make sure that this speaker is contacted right away, and something like this. And if there is nothing like a sheet of this or something else like this, then make sure, if you're the manager or the team leader or however you want to call this, or even for yourself, make sure to make a some kind of this for yourself and for your teammates. Just to make sure that you're on the track. All right, to summarize everything, we have humans are unique, assumptions are evil, open questions are your friends, Remember the W questions? Time is relative, and remove or work around impediments. You cannot remove time zones, unfortunately. I tried, it's not doable. And it's okay to make mistakes if you learn from them. If you don't learn from them, just laugh about them. Okay, you probably don't see that. My German colleague is panicking because we are only going to be 5 minutes early to our 9 a.m. meeting, which is a very, very nice summarizing of Germans. So, thank you very much. Questions?
Form of preferred communication. I mean, like, of course, the written one is the more difficult. So, I'd like to understand how do you tackle that?
Which kind of communication? Do you mean
how do you handle, all the communication with the different teams? Like, how do you try to fit in meetings, or when you try to go writing? And because you were talking about a lot of questions, but it's difficult to put them in an email that is going to be answered.
Oh my God! Yes,
Yeah.
I didn't get into too deep because I thought it's a lunch break and we are not going. Yes, that is a very, very true statement. Do not write too long emails. People are not reading. They are not reading. That's just they don't. They don't. One question per email. So the best thing that worked for us is I am ashamed to say this, but it's a Skype chat. We have group chats in Skype, and if we have a daily stand-up, we are calling everybody on Skype. And I always wanted to introduce Slack to my people, but my people are coming from a background of marketing and stuff like this, so they're not very fond of Slack or any other new technologies, and they're used to Skype, so Skype chats it is. And the website that I showed you is for meetings with different time zones, because as you know, probably, no, this one, we have, does this work? I never tried it. Anyway, we have the normal time zones, right, with 1 hour difference, and we have, for example, India, it's 5.5 hours, and Iran has 3.5 hours, so work around 3.5 hours. I booked a flight for a speaker from India to Germany, and it was a hassle to make him understand when his flight is where.
Dajana, you should be talking to Christoph. He managed to figure that out for Elasticsearch, and they were like minute differences.
Yeah, it's dates and time. I mean, you're a programmer. Well, most of you are programmers, so you know that dates and time, even especially in development, are a pain. I heard about. I think at least 3 talks about dates and time in different programming languages, and I assume it's a pain in each and every programming language. So there you go, right? And it's not only in programming languages; it's also when you deal with humans, like speakers, and you want to move them from one spot of the earth world. Oh my! Yeah, but yeah, it's so the best way is. Synchronous communication, because async communication is very hard.
I'd like to mention this. So, in our team, what doesn't work at all is having big telcos. It's just a waste of time.
And what?
Big telcos with everybody.
Oh, telcos, conference calls.
Don't do them. Yeah. It's a waste of time.
Really?
It basically means like either 2 or 3 people trying to speak and then nobody's hearing anything, right? Or one person is speaking, the rest is listening, which means that half of the team is filling their time, so browsing the web, also wasting time. And then there's a group of people who, on principle, probably won't speak at all in the meeting, so you're wasting their time. So what we do instead is have very short telcos and do one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm. As I said, I'm German.
Yeah.
And I'm very German.
Yeah.
That means I have a lot of lists. I always have a list when I go into conference calls.
Yeah.
And I'm always sticking to this list. If someone goes off the list, I am just pulling them back to the list. That makes sure that everyone gets a word. And so have a certain amount of topics that you want to talk about. And I confess, I'm not good with names. I work with people, and I should remember all the names of the humans I'm talking to, but I'm really not good. I'm good with faces, and I always know, oh, yes, I know you, and I'm so happy we're at the conference and I can look at your badge. So I also have a list with all the people that are in this call. So if I ask a question, I go through this list and see if everyone had a word to this. So maybe that is something that might work for you, but if you already know it doesn't work, so this one-on-one is...
So what I've observed is that often there tends to be a few topics that are interesting to like 3 people in the meeting, and then there's 7 people who this is not interesting at all. So that's why I'm saying probably an hour-long meeting with the entire team, there better be a very good reason for that.
What do you do instead?
So we have 2 meetings per week where we have the entire team, and we try to keep them under half an hour, which is sort of the bare minimum, I'd say. So the first meeting is basically a replacement for the stand-up meeting, where people basically tell what have they done, what are they going to do this week. The second meeting is more focused meeting, which is where we're going with the problem this week.
Can you define entire meeting? How many people is that?
Pretty much 8 to 10. So
Also telco.
yeah, that's like a Hangouts call. So and then we, in addition to that, we have like a daily stand-up channel on Slack, which is where everybody provides updates at least once a day. So that's just the latest iteration. So we've done everything in between. So
Yeah, find your own way, find the way that's best for your team, and learn on the way. There are no mistakes, there are only learnings.
the other interesting point is actually the timing of the meeting. So when do you do a daily stand-up? So we have people with small kids, I think at 6. They're in Finland, so that really means 5. And we have people that are sort of used to getting out of bed at 11 o'clock, and then maybe the first coffee about 12, and then start work. So these work days almost don't overlap, right? So
That's true. So yeah, get to know your team.
yeah.
I know a company where they do their daily stand-up just before lunch. It works.
Yeah.
Okay.
More questions?
If there are no more questions, we can defer the discussions also after the meetup and have Sebastian on Apache.
Yeah, before I forget, sorry, I was in and out, maybe just always say, have you ever faced with different degrees of saying yes?
Have I what?
Ever faced with different degrees of commitment? Because it happens to me when German usually says yes, it's gonna be negative stuff.
Yes.
If average Spanish says yes, it's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna try.
This is the commitment to deadlines that I meant. So let them repeat what you want from them. So if you tell them you want it by Friday at 2 p.m., let them say, yes, it is Friday, 2 p.m. And then you ask, so you commit to Friday, 2 p.m. Yes, I do. There we go. I know, but if it happens like 2 or 3 times, you maybe have to do other things with them.
There are some more cultural extremes here, so
Yeah.
I had some issues with idioms, but it took me some time to figure out that in principle never say no. So you thought you confirmed everything, and it actually turned out no, there's nothing happening.
I mean, I talk about that personal experience in Barcelona and in Germany, and interacting with different cultures. Degree of commitment, it usually never means that we are not going to make it, but this degree of I will try.
Yeah.
You know, it's what is dangerous.
Yeah.
In communication. So,
I had this even with US people, where everything was wonderful and lovely and great, and then suddenly they were on site, was like, well, like, oh my God, you said it was great and wonderful, and okay, now I know that you don't mean this. So.
sorry, I had lost.
Yeah, totally fine. Okay, thank you for listening.
Was it better?